Everybody to this Sunday morning service here at Salt and Light Christian Church. The story that I have for you all this morning is from 2 Kings chapter 5, the story of Naaman and the prophet Elisha. So at this time in the history of Israel, there was the king of Israel had some power, but not nearly as much as the kingdom of Israel had prior, during the time of David and of Solomon. And so the kingdom was kind of still in decline, and surrounding kingdoms were strong enough to rival it, if not even be stronger than it at this time. One such rival nation was the kingdom of Syria. And in Syria, there was a man named Naaman. He was a commander in the army, and he answered directly to the king. However, not only was he a warrior, but he was also a leper. And it just so happened that in his service, there was a young woman who would tend to his wife, who happened to be an Israelite woman. And she noticed her master's affliction and desired what was best for him to be healed and cured of this ailment that he had. And so she mentioned to Naaman's wife that if only they were in the land of Israel, in her homeland, where the prophet of God could heal him and could do such miracles. And so this gave Naaman and his family just a little bit of hope. And this hope ended up leading the king of Syria to send a letter to the king of Israel, requesting that the king of Israel have Naaman's ailment healed, his leprosy healed. And the king of Israel, when he received this note, was greatly distressed, saying, "Who am I to heal this man of his leprosy? Am I God? No." And so he tore his clothes and was in great distress over this. And this is when the prophet Elisha, not to be confused with Elijah, his master, his teacher, but Elisha heard of the king's, how upset the king was, and that he had torn his clothes, and he was dismayed. And so Elisha told the king to have Naaman come to him, and that Elisha would heal Naaman so that all of Syria would know that there is a prophet of the one true God in Israel. And so message gets sent, and Naaman gets the word, and so he heads to Israel, and he ends up at the front door of the house that Elisha was staying in. And Elisha sends out one of his servants, one of his pupils, to go and talk to Naaman on his behalf. And the servant of the prophet goes out to talk to Naaman, and he tells him, "Go and wash yourself 7 times in the river Jordan, and you will be cleansed." And that's all he says. And so Naaman feels kind of disrespected. He's this mighty commander in the military, and the prophet just sends out a lowly servant to come and give him this message to go wash in the river. Naaman's thinking, aren't the rivers were in Syria, where I come from, better than the rivers here? Couldn't I just wash there? And so he gets kind of angry, and he feels disrespected. He's ready to leave, until a couple of his servants come to him and they say, "Well, sir, you made the journey. You put all the effort in to come here and to hear the message. You might as well just hear him out and do it. You're already here, right? What can it hurt?" And so, recognizing the logic of his servants, he agrees and decides, fine, might as well, since he came all the way. And he goes and he washes himself in the river Jordan. And on the 7th time, he is fully healed of his leprosy, and he is cleansed. A miraculous healing takes place. And immediately Naaman's attitude flips, of course. He is filled with joy, and he goes back to the prophet, to Elisha, to show his gratitude. And I love this story because not only is the mercy and grace of God shown to Naaman, this guy who wasn't even an Israelite, he was a Gentile, but it's because of Naaman's obedience. Naaman could have left and just been done with it and had nothing to do with it, but he wouldn't have been healed. But because he was obedient to the prophet of God, God showed him mercy. And God was greatly praised throughout the country of Syria. In fact, Naaman himself vowed to only serve the one true God of Israel from then on, and to give up the paganism from his homeland. And so, I would encourage you to try to live your lives obedient to the Word of God, and you will see the blessings of God in your life as you do. So thank you. Let's bring the music up.